Hi all, welcome to i-TUTOR IAS Academy Tamilnadu History NCERT series. Today we are discussing Unit 11, that is South Indian Kingdom, uh, and especially for Pallavas. So in South India's history is rich with powerful kingdom like Cholas, Chera, Pandyas. We already discussed these three, right? So the ancient three crowned kings are these three: Chola, Chera, and Pandyas, alongside influential empires and dynasties such as Pallavas, Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas, Hoysalas, and the vast Vijayanagara Empire, known for monumental architecture, trade, and cultural contributions. So, other key players include the Satavahana, Kakatiya, and smaller states like Kadambas, shaping South Indian art, literature, and governance for centuries before European colonization. Okay, so today in this chapter, Unit 11, we discuss about especially about Pallavas. Okay, so look at this Indian map. Okay, here one map is here. So here is the you know place for Pallavas. This is the Pallava Empire area. Okay, so here is Chalukya dynasty is here. So uh, you just refer the map for pinpoint the Pallava areas. And after decline of Sangam age in the Tamil country, the Calabra rule lasted for about 250 years, and thereafter the Pallavas established their kingdom in Tondai Mandalam with its capital at Kanchipuram. So it's around area of Tamil Nadu, right? Their rule continued till Tondai Mandalam was captured and annexed by the imperial Cholas in the beginning of the 10th century AD. And origin of Pallava. So origin of Pallava, there are different views on origin of Pallava. They were equated with the Parthians, the foreigners who ruled western India. And another view was the Pallavas were a branch of Brahmin royal dynasty of the Vakatakas of Deccan. And the third view relates the Pallava with the descent of the Chola prince and the Naga princess, whose native was the island of Mani Pallava. And but these theories on the origin of Pallava were not supported by adequate evidences. Okay, so history is always relate with the evidences. So therefore, the view that the Pallavas were the native of Tondai Mandalam itself was widely accepted by scholars. So they are also identical with the Pulindas mentioned in the inscription of Ashoka. When Tondai Mandalam was conquered by the Satavahanas, the Pallavas became their feudatories. After the fall of Satavahanas in the 3rd century AD, they became independent. And the Pallavas issued their earlier inscription in Prakrit and Sanskrit because of their Satavahana connections and also patronized Brahmanism. And the next is political history. Okay, so here is the one chart of Pallava kings, 200 to 800 period. And there is Mahendra Varma 1, Narasimha Varma 1, and Mahendra Varma 2, Parameshwara Varma 1, and Narasimha Varma 2, Parameshwara Varma 2, and Nandi Varma 2, and Dandi Varma, and Nandi Varma 3 is there, and Aparajita Varma is there. So this is the order of Pallava kings. And what about the political history of Pallavas? The early Pallava rules from 250 AD to 350 AD issued their charters in Prakrit. So important among them were Shiva Skandavarman and Vijaya Skandavarman, the second line of Pallava rulers who ruled between 350 AD to 550 AD, issued their charter in Sanskrit. The most important ruler of this line was Vishnu Gopa, who was defeated by Samudragupta during his South Indian expedition. The rulers of the third line, who ruled from 575 AD to their ultimate fall in 9th century, issued their charter both in Sanskrit and Tamil. Okay, and Simha Vishnu was the first ruler of this line, and he destroyed the Kalambras and firmly established the Pallava rule in Tondai Mandala. He also defeated the Cholas and extended the Pallava territory up to the river Kaveri. and other greater Pallava rulers of this line were Mahendravarman I, Narasimhavarman I, and Narasimhavarman II. Okay, so first one is Mahendravarman I. The time period is 600 to 630 AD. The long drawn Pallava Chalukya conflict began during his period, and Pulakeshin II marched against the Pallavas and captured the northern part of their kingdom. Although a Pallava inscription refers to the victory of Mahendravarman I at Pullalur, he was not able to recover the lost territory. And Mahendravarman I was a follower of Jainism in the early part of his career. He was converted to Shaivism by the influence of the Shaiva saint and Tirunavukar Sar alias Appar, and he built a Shiva temple at Tiruvadi, and he assumed a number of titles like Guna Bhara and Satyasanda and Chattakari, that is builder of temples, and Chitrakara Puli and Vijitra Chitta and Mattavilasa. Okay, so you can pronounce your own way. Okay, you just take care of the spellings because it is Tamil, Sanskrit, everything is there in that time. Okay, so language is the so a little bit different the pronunciation. And he was a great builder of cave temples, and the Mandaga Pattu inscription hails him as a Vichitrachitta who constructed a temple for Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva without the use of bricks, timber, metal, and mortar. And his rock cut temple are found in a number of places like Vallam, Mahendravadi, and Dalavanur, and Pallavaram, and Mandagapattu, and Tiruchirappalli. And he had also authored the Sanskrit work Mattavilasa, Prahasanam, and his title Chitrakarapuli reveals his talent in painting. And he is also regarded as an expert in music. And the music inscription at Kudummi Anamalai is ascribed to him. Okay, so that is about the Mahendra Varman. The time period of this Mahendra Varman I is 600 to 630 AD. And next is Narasimha Varman I. The time period is 630 to 668 AD. Narasimha Varman was also known as Mammalla, which means great wrestler. Okay, and he wanted to take average the defeat of his father at this hand of Chalukya's ruler Pulakeshin II, and his victory over Pulakeshin II in the battle of Manimangalam near Kanchi is mentioned in Kuram copper plate. Okay, so its copper plate is called Kuram. And the Pallava army under General Parajodi pursued the retreating Chalukya army, entered Chalukya territory, captured and destroyed the capital city of Vatapi. And Narasimha Varman I assumed the title Vatapi Konda. And he regained the lost territory. And another notable achievement of Narasimha Varman I was his naval expedition to Sri Lanka. And he restored the throne to his friend as Sri Lanka and Prince Manavavarma. And during his reign, Huan Sang visited the Pallava capital Kanchipuram, and his description of Kanchi is vivid. He calls it a big, beautiful city and 6 miles in circumference. It had 100 Buddhist monasteries in which about 10,000 Buddhist monks lived. According to his account, the people of Kanchi esteemed great learning, and the Gatika at Kanchi served as a great center of learning. Narasimha Varman I was the founder of Mamallapuram, and the monolithic rathas were erected during his reign. Next is Narasimha Varman II or Rajasimha, that is around 695 to 722 AD. Narasimha Varman I was succeeded by Mahendra Varman II and Parameshwara Varman I, and the Pallava Chalukya conflict continued during their reign. Thereafter, Narasimha Varman II became the ruler of the Pallava kingdom. He was also known as Raja Simha. His regime was peaceful, and he enhanced more interest in developing the art and architecture, and the short temple at Mamalapuram and the Kailasanatha temple at Kanchipuram were built in this period of Narsimha Varman II or Rajasimha. Okay, he was also a great patron of art and letters, and the famous Sanskrit scholar Dandin is said to have adorned his court. He sent embassies to China, and the maritime trade flourished during his reign. Rajasimha assumed titles like Shankara Bhakta and Vadya Vidyadhara and Agama Priya. He was succeeded by Parameshwara Varma II and Nandi Varman II, and the Pallava rule lasted till the end of the 9th century AD. The Chola king Aditya I defeated the last Pallava ruler Aparajita and seized the Kanchi region, and with this, the rule of Pallava dynasty came to an end. Next is administration of the Pallavas. The Pallavas had a well organized administrative system. The Pallava state was divided into kottams, and the kottam was administered by officers appointed by the king. The king was at the center of administration, in which he was assisted by able ministers. He was a fountain of justice, and he maintained a well trained army. He provided land grants to the temples known as Devadhana and also the Brahmins known as Brahadaya, and it was also the responsibility of the central government to provide irrigation facilities to the land. And a number of irrigation tanks were dug by the Pallava kings. The irrigation tanks at Mahendravadi and Mamandur were dug during the reign of Mahendra Varman I. Detailed information on the tax system could also be traced from the Pallava inscription. The land tax was the primary source of the government revenue. The Brahmadeya and Devadana land were exempted from the tax. Traders and artisans such as carpenters, goldsmiths, washermen, pressers, and weavers paid taxes to the government. The Pallava inscription throw much light on the village assemblies called sabhas and their committees. They maintained records of all village lands, looked after local affairs, and managed temples. Next is society under the Pallavas. What about the society under Pallavas? The Tamil society witnessed a great change during the Pallava period. The caste system became rigid, and the Brahmins occupied a high place in the society. They were given land grants by the kings and nobles. They were also given the responsibility of looking after the temple. And the Pallava period also witnessed the rise of Shaivism and Vaishnavism, and also the decline of Buddhism and Jainism. The Shaiva Nayamas and the Vaishnava Alvas contributed to the growth of Shaivism and Vaishnavism. This is known as the Bhakti movement, and they composed their hymns in the Tamil language. These hymns revealed the importance of devotion or bhakti. The construction of temple by the Pallava kings paved the way for the spread of these two religions. Next is about education and literature of Pallava time. The Pallava were a great patron of learning, and their capital Kanchi was an ancient center of learning, and the Gadika at Kanchi was popular, and it attracted students from all part of India and abroad. The founder of the Kadamba dynasty, that is Mayura Sharman, studied Vedas at Kanchi, and Dinganaga, a Buddhist writer, came to study at Kanchi, and Dharmapala, who later became the head of the Nalanda University, belonged to Kanchi, and Bharavi, the great Sanskrit scholar, lived in the time of Simha Vishnu, and Dendin, another Sanskrit writer, adorned the court of Narasimha Varman II. And Mahendra Varman I composed the Sanskrit play that is called Macha Vilasa Prahasana. Okay, and the Tamil literature had also developed. So please take care of the spelling. Okay, and the Nayanmars and Alvas composed religious hymns in Tamil, and the Devaram composed by Nayanmars and Nalaira Divya Prabandham that is composed by Alvas represented the religious literature of the Pallava period. And Perundevanar was patronized by Nandi Varman II, and the translated the Mahabharata and Bharatavemba in Tamil. And Nandi Kalabangam was another important work, but the name of the author of this work is not known. Music and dance also developed during this period. Okay, so this is the education and literature of this time. And here is the Mamallapuram. Rathas at Mamallapuram is here in this picture. That is art and architecture of Pallava. And it was a great age of temple building. The Pallavas introduced the art of excavating temple from the rock. In fact, the Dravidian style of temple architecture began with the Pallava ruler, and it was a gradual evolution starting from the cave temples to monolithic rathas and culminated in structural temples. The development of temple architecture under the Pallavas can be seen in four stages. Mahendravarman I introduced the rock cut temple, and this style of Pallava temple are seen at a place like Mandaga Pattu and Mahendravadi and Mamantur and Dalavanur, Tiruchirappalli, Vallam, Siyamangalam, and Tirukalu Kundram. Okay, so these are the styles of Pallava temple are seen in these places. And the second stage of Pallava architecture is represented by the monolithic rathas. So this is monolithic rathas, that is mandabas found at Mamallapuram. And Narasimhavarman I took the credit for this wonderful architectural monument. The five rathas, popularly called Pancha Pandava rathas, signifies five different style of temple architecture. And the mantapas contain beautiful sculptures on its walls, and the most popular of these mantapas are Mahishasura Mardini, okay, and Mantapa, and Tirumurti Mandapam, and Varaha Mandapam. So these are the famous mantapas on this time. And in the next stage is the Rajasimha introduced a structural temple. These temples were built by using the soft sand rocks. And the Kailasanatha temple at Kanji. So this is Kailasanatha temple. You can Google it also. You will get the picture. And the Shore temple at Mamallapuram remain the finest example of the early structural temples of the Pallavas. And Kailasanatha temple at Kanji is the greatest architectural masterpiece of the Pallava art. Okay. So, the last stage of Pallava art is also represented by structural temples built by the later Pallavas. That is the Vaigunda Perumal temple. And Mukteshwara temple and Matakeshwara temple at Kanchipuram belong to this stage of architecture. Here, so next is Pallavas had also contributed the development of sculptures. Apart from the sculptures found in the temple, the open art gallery at Mamallapuram remain an important monument bearing the sculptural beauty of this period. So here is one picture of Shore temple at Mamallapuram, and the descent of the Ganges or the penance of Arjuna is called the fresco painting in stone. The minute details as well as the theme of these sculptures, such as the figures of lie-speaking monkey, elephant of huge size, and the figure of the ascetic cat and standing erect, remain the proof for the talent of the sculptures. Okay, and next is fine art, and here is a picture of the fall of Ganges. Okay, so this is all these are Pallava art. The music, dance, painting had also developed under the patronage of Pallavas, and the Mamandur inscription contained a note on the notation of vocal music, and the Kudumiyan Malay inscription referred to musical notes and instruments. The Alvas and Nayanmars composed their hymns in various musical notes, and dance and drama also developed during this period. The sculptures of this period depict many dancing postures, and the Sitana Vasal painting belonged to this period. The commentary called Dakshin Chitra was compiled during the reign of Mahendravarman I, who had the title Chittira Karapuli. Okay. So this is about finance of this period, and this is all about the Pallava dynasty. So far we discussed different theories about the origin of the Pallavas and the political history of the Pallava and their military accomplishments, administrative system under the Pallavas, and their cultural contribution, architectural achievement of Pallavas we discussed so far. So here is 150 word questions for you today. So write a short note on social life under Pallavas. Okay. So here is one question for you. Try to answer it. Okay. So today we end here with this question, and for more content do like, share and subscribe our channel. In between any doubts you can contact us also. Okay. Thank you so much.